I just want to thank you, Lord. Amen. Truly, it's good to be in the house. I was laughing with Brother Porter as I was coming up because I had both Bibles. I'm reminded of some old preachers. They used to come up with their 2-3 Bibles and a concordance and a dictionary. I was walking up, I had both of them. Let y'all know y'all in for a long. If you have your Bibles, come with me to the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter number 2. I'm going to try not to be long. I put one Bible away. Y'all don't say amen, I'll pull it out. Amen. Matthew chapter number 2, beginning at verse number 1. It reads in this manner. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. Verse 3 says, When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Verse 3 says, When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Verse 3 says, When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Skip down to verse number 19. But when Herod was dead, the angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt. And I'm going to stop right there. And just for a little while this morning, I want to talk about the enemy of Christ. The enemy of Christ. It's funny because, believe it or not, everybody in the building has at least one enemy. Enemies are sometimes closer to you than you actually think they are. If the truth of the matter is really spoken on this day, if you properly look to your left or to your right, it might be an enemy. Somebody that normally you thought was in your corner could also be an enemy. Enemies, somebody say keep your enemies close to you so you'll know what they're doing at all times. But I beg to drop the load this morning to tell you that some of our biggest enemies are our closest friends. I beg to tell you this morning that sometimes the enemy is not a friend, it's not a stranger, but it's the one that you're looking at in the mirror. Well, I wish I had time. I know y'all don't want to hear nothing like that. But sometimes the enemy is closer than you think. It's funny because whenever we talk about Christ, we always talk about how good he is and how he can turn things around. But we sometimes fall short and forget that he had enemies. He had people, as he pulled left, they pulled right. As he went up, they pulled down. He had enemies that was on his trail at every hand. Just because he was the Son of God does not mean everybody was following him. Can I drop right through there and tell you? Just because he was God's only son don't mean everybody was pulling on his coattail. Let me go ahead and drop and tell you, just because you're doing the right thing, just because you're in charge, just because you have a title, just because you have a position, it does not mean that everybody is going to be on your side. Ooh, I think y'all need to hear that this morning. But as we come through, this is normally the time of the year when we normally talk about the birth of Christ and how Christ was born and all the things that centered around the nativity scene of Christ being born in a stable and all the good things about Christ and how the wise men came from the east and how from the west as they followed the shining star in the east, how baby Jesus laid in a stable filled with hay. This is the time of the year when little children gets their Christmas speeches and everybody is dying to play the role of baby Jesus. And if you can't get the role of baby Jesus, you want to be Joseph and Mary. Everybody is dying for the role in the nativity scene. But here, we got to understand, nobody wanted to play Herod. But let me tell you, you don't have to play Herod because Herod is sitting in the church house. Herod is sitting in the pews. Herod is sitting on your row. Herod is sitting right next to you. Keep your eyes straight. Herod is in the building. And he's the enemy of Christ. He's one that we would rather omit or take out of the equation of what happened at this miraculous birth of Jesus. We would almost want to throw him out. It's almost a modern day Scrooge. Or so some of you all can really go with it, Mr. Grinch.
All right.
Yeah, y'all gonna help me. Yeah, everything that was making Christmas exciting, he tried to find a reason to make it sad. How often do you hear of the name Herod at the birth of Christ? Here we got to understand that as Christ is being born, heaven has a totally different focus. Jesus is being born king, but the cattle that are filling the ranch upstage his birth. He's being born, but here the stable gains more attention than the palace. Everything that's sitting there is turning a different way because everybody is focused on Herod, but everybody's focused on the baby Jesus. So this morning I want to talk to you about the enemy of Christ. He goes by the name of Herod. Why are we talking about Herod in the Bible? We need to also understand that there's some Herod in the pews. The first thing I want you to understand, when Herod got ready to come, it was him and his troubled heart. I need to drop through here and tell you that when Herod showed up, he didn't show up by himself. He showed up with a troubled heart. His heart was messed up. He had burdens on his heart. He had problems on his heart. He had fear on his heart. His heart was messed up. And if I can really drop a load right through here and tell you that many people are messed up today because they have a messed up heart. Y'all don't want to say amen. Right. Your heart is not right, and that's why you can't love others that despitefully misuse you, because you are sitting there with a messed up heart. You can't wave your hand in church because your heart is messed up. You can't enter into the midst of worship service because your heart is messed up. You can't stay for Sunday school because your heart is messed up. You can't even get involved in Bible study because your heart is messed up. You can't get in on the deacon board because your heart is messed up. You can't help the mission sisters because heart is messed up. You can't join the usher board because you have a messed up heart. You're sitting there in the pew and you're looking at everybody else worship. And he had a troubled heart. And the problem with troubled hearts is people, because they come to church, their heart is not troubled. Ooh, put a quarter in the meter, Pastor. Just because you show up, don't fix a troubled heart. In order to fix a troubled heart, it has to be converted and turned over to the Lord. Here the text. The wise men had already shows up, and they are explaining their mission to Herod, and their mission is to seek out and find this King of the Jews. Jesus, he's born in verses 1 through 2. The Bible tells us that he was born the King of the Jews, and the star was a signifying of who he was by coming up in the east. And here the Magi, these men, these wise men, wanted to know where was Jesus at, because in verse 2 it says they came to worship him. They wanted to give God what was really worth. They wanted to open up their hearts and worship him. Now, so you don't miss the text. It's hard to worship somebody and they don't know what he's capable of doing. Listen, because see, we talk about worship now in 2018, and we say you ought to worship God because we know that he's able to do exceeding and abundantly great things. Even if he don't do it, he deserves to be worshiped. Where here he's just a little lad according to the text, because in Luke calls him an infant, but here in Matthew he's called a young child. So it lets us know we're still not at the birth of Christ, but he's being worshipped, and according to the Bible, he had not yet turned water into wine. He had not yet begun to open blinded eyes. He had not begun to walk on water. He had not made lame men walk. He had not made deaf men hear. He had not performed a miracle yet, but they was coming to worship him. Can I drop a quarter in the meter and ask you, why did you show up this morning? Oh, no, don't get quiet right through there. Because if you came in the house to worship him, it don't matter who's sitting next to you. It don't matter who's sitting across from you. It matters because you came into the house to give God some worship. And when you come in to give God some worship, you don't need a piano, you don't need a drummer. All you want to do is give God what is really his. That means I'm going to open up my heart. That means I'm going to open up my fat mouth. That means I'm going to raise up my hands. That means I'm going to scream to the top of my lungs and let somebody know God has been good. All right. Herod is troubled because he's having a fear that he's getting ready to lose control. He fears Christ is getting ready to become the next king. He's seeking out Christ, but he's looking at Christ in the wrong eyesight. Because we know Christ did not come to establish an earthly kingdom. He came to establish his heavenly realm. But while they was thinking Christ was coming to overthrow the Roman government, Herod is getting scared because he knows he's not nowhere from the bloodline of David. He was not born in the bloodline of David, but Herod is an Edomite. He comes from the descendants of Jacob, and being that, he knew that he did not deserve to be on the throne, because the throne was reserved for them that came from the bloodline of David. So Herod knew his time was limited, but he did not understand that Christ was not worried about his earthly throne, but Christ is ready for his heavenly. Y'all gonna help me? All right. And I have to ask this question right now, because many of you are in here and you're troubled. And I have to ask the question, are you afraid of losing control of your life? Yeah, see, that's $1 million question. Somebody say, well, Pastor, I'm in my downside. I'm on the other side of the hill. But just because you on that side don't mean you can't lose control of your life. How do I lose control of my life, Pastor? Well, when you allow the drinking to become overbearing. How do I lose control of my life? When gambling becomes more of a habit than it becomes fun. How do I lose control of my life? When sin overtakes everything and God takes the back row in my life. So the question is, are you afraid that you're going to lose control of your life? Are you afraid to allow Christ to be the king in your life? Because in order for something to happen, you got to surrender your all. You got to let God have his way. You got to open up your heart so that God can manifest himself inside of you and use you the way that he wants to be used. Herod had to look at wise men, and in the essence of it, there's a contrast, there's a difference between Herod and the wise men. The wise men came to worship, and Herod was sitting there worried. Can I look at y'all this morning? Somebody came in the building this morning and they came in with a worship on their mind, and somebody came in worrying on their mind. I need to stop and tell you that you can't worship and worry at the same time. I need to let you understand that if you're going to worship, you can't worry. If you're going to worry, you can't worship. So you got to decide which one you coming into the house of the Lord to do this morning. Because I don't know about you, but I'm glad that he woke me up this morning. I realized that he didn't have to wake me up. I realized I should have still been dead, sleeping in my grave. But by the grace of God, he looked beyond all my faults and supplied me with all my needs. And by the essence of that, I think he deserves some praise. I think he deserves some worship, because even if he did not wake me, y'all gonna help me. He's still good. The wise men, come on, the wise men came to give while Herod had a groan in his heart. Don't look at your neighbor, don't look at your neighbor. Everybody came to church this morning with two things on their mind. Either they was going to give or they was going to frown up at giving. Y'all gonna help me? And I'm not talking about your monetary problems. Put your checkbooks in your pocket, hold on to your wallet. I'm not talking about your checkbook. I'm not talking about your money. Some people came to give a piece of mind. Some people came to give a hug. Some people came to give a handshake. But then there are some ugly folks in the building that came in with a groan on their mouth. They want to know why they came to church, why that person showed up, why they wearing that type of shirt, why they got that dress on, what he looking at. Somebody, y'all gonna help me for a little while. Everybody come into church with a different type of problem. And then watch this. The wise men showed up to praise, and Herod was sitting there trying to plot. Oh, y'all don't miss it. It's some people in the building that came in with a praise on their lips, and there's other folks that came in with a plot on their mind. Everybody don't come in for the same agenda. You don't know who you sitting next to, but if you sit next to the wrong person in the midst of service, do me a favor. You're not gonna bother me. Just slide over a little bit, move around a little bit. If you feel you're sitting next to somebody that didn't come with the same agenda you got in mind, you might need to change your seat, because you need to let them know, baby, I feel a breakthrough coming through. Because if everything is going to change in my life, I got to learn how to look beyond those that are sitting by me and learn to know that I came in with something on my mind. And if I'm going to do what's on my mind, I can't worry about what's on yours. Now watch this. I told you about Herod and his troubled heart. But let me tell you what else Herod did. Herod brought trouble to other folks. Oh, y'all don't miss this. Herod didn't want to be in the fire all by himself. Y'all, can I really preach to y'all? Sick folks don't want to be sick by themselves. Y'all gonna help me? Let me. I'm trying to help you. Drunk people don't like to be drunk by themselves. Sad folks don't like to be sad by themselves. If you happy and they sad, they gonna try to find a way to bring you down. Y'all gonna help me for a little while? They're gonna always try to find a way to bring you down to their level. What you mean, Pastor? You woke up this morning with Jesus on your mind. You walked in the church. He said, how you doing? Oh, Lord, I got this problem. My back been hurt. They always trying to find a way to kill your joy. And listen to what the text says is that all Jerusalem was with him. In the midst of him being troubled, in the midst of him being messed up, the whole town was with him. Can I tell you that sometimes you don't understand why your household is like it is? It's because the way you are. I know you're going to get quiet. You understand something. Let me help you here. You want to know why there's no peace in your house? Because you ain't peaceful.
All right. All right.
You want to know why ain't no joy in your house? Because you ain't bringing joy. You want to know why the problems are in your house? Because you bringing in 99 of them. When you reject Christ, let me go ahead. When you reject Christ, it affects not only you, but it affects them that are around you. And the problem that we're facing with is that we don't realize how much turmoil we bring by affecting other folks that are around us. It's amazing how many people say, my loved one don't want to come to church. They don't want to get up and come. Well, you know why they don't want to come to church? Can I go ahead and be honest with you? Because they see you ain't changed.
Oh, Lord, that was love mine.
And if you've been going to church for 20 years and you ain't changed, come on, Pastor, and preach for a little while. If you've been in church for 20 years and you ain't changed, why you think bringing your spouse in gonna make a change? Why your children gonna change? If it ain't working for you, come on, somebody, how is it gonna work for them? They see you singing in the choir and then you come home cussing. And the question lies is, what do you bring to others? Do you bring heartaches or do you bring blessings? When you walk through the door, whether it's at home, whether it's on the job, whether it's in the church, whether it's in the grocery store, what are you bringing when you show up? Are you bringing a heartache? Are they groaning when you walk through the door? Or are they happy when you come in? Because you know we bring an atmosphere with us. Either somebody going to be happy or they going to be sad. But they can't be both. So the question is, what do you bring when you show up to the building? Herod got upset. And because he got upset, listen to how it rubs off. When he got upset, the Bible says everybody around him got upset. So let me just ask this question. If Herod would have came in excited, what do you think would have happened to everybody around him? They would have got excited also. So if you come in with your head down, it's going to make other folks put their head. But if you come in on a Sunday morning with your head up, if you come in on a Monday for mission meeting with your head up, if you show up to choir rehearsal with your head up, if you come in the Bible study with your head up, it's going to make everybody else put their head up. I know y'all don't want to hear it. Y'all don't want to hear nothing like that because they call that bad preaching. Because I'm trying to tell you how to help yourself and how to change yourself. But let me tell you, in order for things to get better, you got to want it to get better. In order for it to get good, you got to make the progress in the steps so that it can get good. Here, Herod, as you read through the second chapter, you'll find out that Herod was so discouraged and so upset that he put out a decree. And in the midst of putting out the decree said that any male child that's under 2 years of age, 2 years and under, would have to be killed. Y'all gonna help me? And it lets you know that sometimes people with evil in their hearts, they don't just want to kill themselves. They don't just kill that they're not happy, but they want to make everybody else's lives miserable. Yeah, they don't want to just affect themselves. And I'm like this here. If you're going to be sad by yourself. You don't have to bring me down. If you're going to be mad by yourself. Go in the corner by yourself until you get better. But you don't have to press my button. Y'all gonna help me for a little while? If I woke up good, why are you trying to steal my joy? Yeah. But see that's why. Let me hit pause right through here. That's why you gotta have something on the inside of you that's gonna get you through when you're walking around evil folks and when you're walking around evil people. Let me tell you, people carry demonic spirits with them, and they show up and they will try to steal your joy. Yeah. I know that's not in the text. I'm throwing this in for free.
All right.
People will steal your joy because they don't want to see you happy. Listen, the devil don't want to see you excited. I'm not talking about just about Jesus. He just don't want to see you happy at all. He want to see you sad and miserable. Why? Because he know where he's going. He knows his state. He has not been bound in hell yet, but he knows when God comes back and gets ready to give us our eternal destination, he knows he's going to spend eternity in hell. And guess what? He don't want to go by himself. And if he knows he don't have to go by himself, he want to take you and somebody else with him. But let me tell you the good news about Jesus. That's why he came born in Bethlehem, so you don't have to go to hell with him. Here, angels is a place. Jesus, they're here. Angels are singing. Mothers are weeping. And it's the place of glory. But it also becomes a place of grief. Here, this place, the tabernacle, here where Jesus was at, because everybody came in with different problems. But can I walk right through here and tell you, if you have a troubled heart, if you got a troubled mind, if you're burdened down, you don't bring it to Pookie, don't bring it to Shaquita, don't bring it to the psychic, don't bring it to Buddha, don't give it over to Jesus. I know, that's too much. That's too much for y'all. That's too easy. But if you give it over to Jesus, he can work it out. Give me 5 or 6 of you, I'll be number 7. He'll work it out. He'll fix it. When it don't look like it can be fixed, he'll turn things around. It'll start to work in your favor. Yeah, anybody try Jesus? He's a way maker. He's a bridge over troubled waters. He's water when you're thirsty. He's a counselor in the midnight hour. He wipes the tears from your eyes. He's a doctor in the sick room. He's a lawyer in the courthouse. Anybody try Jesus? He's a friend when you're friendless. He's a bridge. He's all that you need. He's the Alpha and Omega. When it gets dark in your life, he's the bright morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000. He's the Lord of near and far. Have you tried Jesus?
Right now.
And let me tell you, he will meet you. This is what I love about Jesus. He will meet you in your trouble. Right. Oh, wait. So you can understand it better. You don't have to pack it all the way to him.
All right.
Yeah, y'all gonna help me? If you give it over to him in your heart, he'll take it from you right there. See, when you get ready to fix your car, you got to take it to the mechanic. When you get ready to get worked on at the doctor's office, you got to go to the doctor. I wish I had some time. When you get ready to go to court, you got to go to the courthouse. When you need a psychiatrist or a counselor, you got to go to the office and then lay down on their dirty sofa. I wish I had some time. That somebody else been crying on me. Y'all gonna help me? But when you get your problems, all you gotta do is give them over to the Lord, and he gonna meet you and take the burden from you. I told you that Herod had a troubled heart. I told you that Herod brought trouble to other folks. So now I need to tell you about Herod is in trouble forever. Verse 19 says, but when Herod was dead, it lets me know that Herod died in the midst of his sins. That's a bad state for a 2018 Christian. That's a bad state for Herod to die in his sins. But for us today, that's a serious bad state, because you don't have to die in the condition that you're in. Because there's a God that want to forgive you, that want to wipe away all your sins, and you don't have to go ahead and die the way you came. The way you entered into the house this morning is not how you have to leave the house. Can I tell you that? You got to understand that Herod had went from suffering to suffering still. You don't have to go from like Herod. You don't have to go. Herod had a problem. He was suffering on earth, and now he's going to suffer in hell. He went from one suffering to another suffering. He's still troubled. He went from one trouble to another trouble. But ooh, give me about 5 of y'all. Give me one good witness in the building that says, baby, I got some troubles, but when I turned it over to Jesus, he made everything all right. He fixed it for my mama. He fixed it for my daddy. He fixed it for Big Mama. And I know if he did it for them, he's good enough to do it for a little old. Herod missed it. He missed it. He missed that Christ came to save and die for those, so we wouldn't have to die lost. He missed that Christ came to cleanse us, so we wouldn't have to die in guilt. He missed that Christ came to give us peace. But Herod died the same way that he lived. As the year begins to unfold and close out, everybody has 2 dates on their tombstone. You have a start date and an end date. And them 2 dates are important. But more important is what you did in between that dash. And if you hadn't changed your life, if your life hadn't been fixed, all you got is a death, a birth, and a death date. And the same way you was born is the same way you're going to die. But let me tell you, you don't have to leave in that condition. If you're acting like Herod, or are you acting like the wise men? Did you come in to gripe, or did you come in to give God some glory? Did you come in to worry, or did you show up because you wanted to worship this morning? Did you come in with Christ on your mind, or did you come in with problems on your mind? Let me tell you, there are still people seeking Jesus Christ today because they know they need the Lord in their lives. They need him in their lives, and that's the only way that they're going to make a change. Good news, Mount Gilead. It's not too late to fix it. It's not too late to give it over to the Lord. I'm reminded of a story, and I have to leave you now. But I'm reminded of the story of the young man, of this gentleman, older man, who was in his 70s, and he was sick. And as he got ready to die, he went on down and made a few last payments. Told his wife that, baby, everything is paid for. If something ever happens to me, you don't have to worry, because all the bills are paid. Everything is paid for. The furniture has been paid for. But all you got to do is take care of the monthly utilities. There's enough money in the bank that'll take care of the monthly utilities. And the lady sat there with tears in her eyes, and she said, honey, don't leave me. But he said, baby, I will meet you on the other side. And that man went on to be with the Lord. He went on to glory. But the lady kept on crying. Went home one day with tears in her eyes. Months went on by. But one day while she was cleaning, a moving truck showed up. A man got out the truck with his overalls on. Got out the truck, had his dolly with him, went up to the door and began to knock on the door and told the lady, Your bill is overdue. I need to pick up the furniture. If you don't have the money, I need to pick up the furniture. The lady looked at it. She said, sir, my husband is an honest man. My husband worked every day of his life. And he told me before he died that everything is going to be all right. And he paid all the bills and that I didn't have nothing. And the man looked at her, said, ma'am, if you don't have no money, if you don't have no receipt, I'm going to have to pick up the furniture in the house. And she said, sir, can you give me a few days? And the man told her, I'll give you till Friday. But on Friday, I'm coming back to pick up my furniture. If you don't have my money, the man got in the truck, drove on down the road. The lady sat down in the old rocking chair, began to say to herself, I know the Lord will make a way somehow. I don't know when and I don't know how, but I know the Lord will make a way somehow. Friday rolled around, the Lord still had not showed up. The man got out the truck, went to the door, knocked on the door, and told the lady, I need the furniture or I need my money. She peeked through the screen door. She said, I know the Lord will make a way somehow. He looked at her and said, sounds good, but if you don't have my money, I need my furniture. She said, I know the Lord will make a way somehow. He said, ma'am, quit all that holy stuff. If you don't have my money, I'm going to need the furniture. She said, I know the Lord will make a way somehow. The screen door came open, but a butterfly was flying in the midst of the front yard, and a cat was chasing the butterfly around. Butterfly flew in the house and landed on the counter. Cat came running in, grabbed his paw, trying to hit the butterfly. Missed the butterfly, knocked over a vase. Underneath the vase was a receipt. The lady stooped down, picked up the receipt, had a receipt in her hand, said paid in full. She said, I told you the Lord will show up somehow. I need you to understand that the Lord will show up somehow. He showed up on Friday evening on a hill called Calvary. You paid in full. Grace be to God. Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? He walks with me and he talks with me. He lets me know that I'm his own. You want to hold your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I know the Lord will make a way somehow. It might not come when I want it to come, but he will show up right on time. Ain't he all right? Say yeah, say yeah, say yeah, say yeah. I know he's all right. I know he's all right. Yeah, yeah. I know he's all right. He will show up right on time. I know they're looking at you funny. I know we got to go because we're looking at the clock. But let me go ahead and tell you, he will show up on time. Have I got a witness in the room that knows he will show up on time? He showed up on time a long time ago. Anybody know he will show up on time? Bills are due. Don't know where the money's coming from, but he will show up on time. Got laid off on the job. Don't know where my next check's coming in, but he will show up on time. The doctor report came in. Don't know what it says, but he will show up on time. Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? And say yeah. Say yeah. I know he's all right. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. You've been good to me. Jesus. Say yes.
Yes.
I know he's all right.
Yes.
Woo.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Woo.
I know he's all right. I know he's all right. Y'all looking at me funny, but I've been washed in the blood of Jesus, and I know he's all right. I've tried him for myself, and I know he's all right. Doors of the church. Doors of the church are open. For there might be one want to give their life to Jesus